everybody doing? My name is Christopher Brown, host of the podcast Sports Talk with Chris, and we're back with another Philly Sports Duo edition. Now, this time we're going to be doing the Eagles pregame show versus the Minnesota Vikings. The game kicks off tonight, Thursday Night Football, 8:15. I can't wait to watch my Eagles kick it off with their home opener. Hopefully, it ends up with a W. Now, in this episode, we're going to be breaking down everything you want to hear from the offensive game plan that needs to happen, the defensive game plan that needs to happen, and we're also going to give you some betting advice at the end. So just a reminder, Philly Sports Duo is something me and my guy from high school, Tyler, created. He's one of the only guys just like me that knows ball. And what makes it better is that he's a Philly sports fan just like me. So Tyler, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic on this evening. Looking forward to just jumping in right away.
Same. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with the injuries for the Eagles. Now, right now for the Eagles, we're going to miss Blankenship, who had an amazing game last week, and we both said he was either the highest rated for us defensive player or one of the highest rated defensive players for us. We're going to be missing Bradbury with a concussion, our second best cornerback. He came alive when he came to the Eagles. Hurt to see him not going to be there. And Kenneth Gainwell, we saw him last week really take over that RB1 responsibility. Had a very he had a decent week. Not going to blame him. He was very productive. Got a lot of carries. Saw a lot of time on the field. So we're missing three important guys, honestly, for offense and the defensive side. And the Vikings, they're missing their starting center, Garrett Bradbury, with a back injury. How do you feel about those injuries for the Eagles side? How do you think that's going to affect us?
Well, I think with Kenny G, I'm not as worried. You got DeAndre Swift now, who's going to get more than 2 touches. I think Rashad Penny does dress, and obviously we kind of know what to expect from Boston
Mm-hmm.
Scott on a weekly basis outside of playing the Giants. The big ones though to me is James Bradbury. With now you got Josh Jobe coming into the starting lineup more than likely. I do expect them to dress one of Rick's or Keely Ringo, but I think Rick's does get the dress over him. I think now with Minnesota's alignment being Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, I think that's the rookie's name,
Yeah.
and KJ Osborne.
Mm-hmm.
I think either way he has his work cut out for him in this, whether he's on the inside or outside. Luckily though, Justin Jefferson does move around a lot, so I don't think he'll just be sitting on the left side of the field the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Jefferson's gonna move to the slides, going to the other side. So I don't think it's like very the end of the world here because they do have a banged up O line and our D line should get there, but that's
Yeah.
more or less later. We'll get into the show. And then Reed Blankenship. I mean, we have a veteran in Terrell Edmonds who didn't get the start last week. That was kind of a big surprise for me.
Mm-hmm.
So shouldn't be the end of the world, but definitely some key matchups that they could expose depending on how this game goes. And yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. It's going to be we're going to dive into it obviously during the show, but it's going to be interesting how Philly combats these injuries. I mean, all three guys are very important and they're all starters to this team. So when you're missing three starters in a short week, it can be dangerous. But this is a game that we're going to talk about. I'm ready to watch, and I think we're going to have success. So let's start off with the offensive game plan. The expectations we had for the offense last week. It wasn't a beautiful game from the offense. We saw a fumble from Jalen Hurts. We saw multiple times in the red zone or the other side of the field. We weren't able to score touchdowns, only field goals. I think we had about 3 or 4 field goals last week. One offensive touchdown. That's not a beautiful game. Obviously, you're going against a Bill Belichick defense, but regardless, when you have that many months off, you kind of expect from a high-powered offense to see some more things. So hopefully, in week two, as we're going to discuss, we want to see more things, better things, a lot of improvement. So, in your mind, what's the offensive game plan going into this? Excuse me, going into this week. Obviously, we're going to miss Gainwell, so other guys got to step up. We have a huge running back room, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, in your eyes, what's the offensive game plan this week?
I think running the ball wise, I want to get back up to like 25 attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think the bulk of that should go to DeAndre Swift, and then Rashad Penny. I mean, Boston Scott, we kind of know what he is,
Yeah.
and I think he'll take the more of the receiving role actually this game than Swift would.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Jalen Hurts last week only having a long throw of 23. That needs to go up. Take a few more shots, get the ball a little bit quicker, maybe get into some up tempo a little earlier in this game. Um, O line should be fine. Just got to worry about Daniil Hunter, but you have Lane Johnson lined up across from him, so that's not the end of the world.
Absolutely.
And then the opening script to me is such a big thing. Last year the Eagles were so good at their opening script.
Hmm.
It felt like it was smooth every game, even when they didn't score or had like a drop ball, incompletion. The script looked good no matter what. And
Hmm.
I think if they can get back to that, then they'll have a good chance of getting up in this game if they get the ball first.
Absolutely. I'm definitely with you. The opening script is going to determine a lot for this game. I looked at the Vikings, last week, and obviously they lost to the Buccaneers. Mike Evans had a good game. Chris Godwin had a good game. And when I look at our receivers and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, I think they can have a better game. I definitely see us bouncing back this week, and I'm with you. I think we're going to throw the ball long more often. Some things I'm gonna look for. Number one on my list, honestly, is to use the tight end more. We have Dallas Goddard, who we both agree is at least a top six, top seven. If I'm being modest, tight end in the NFL easily could be rated higher. And there was multiple times where he was open last week. So hopefully we're able to use him more. We're able to utilize our weapons because we're down in game. Well, obviously, like I said earlier, we have a big running back room. But I want to see this offense. Have some swagger. I want to see this offense really have some consistency, and I think that can start with the pass game when you have Jalen Hurts, who has shown he can be a passer. Not saying we have to throw the ball 50 times, but I want to see us utilize our weapons, push the ball down the field, and kind of have a mixed type of offensive game plan. I do want to see Swift get at least 15 carries this game. We can use Penny in a short yard distance as well, and I'm with you. Boston Scott is more of a receiving back, but one thing I would love to see is some great clock management again. At least we had good clock management in the first half. Really, or I would say the first 16 minutes last week. So I want to see that as well. But yeah, I'm not too worried about the offense. Short week, yes, but I think they were able to, or hopefully they were able to see what was wrong last week, and get ready for this week because this Vikings defense. Yes, you talked about Danielle Hunter, but we have one of the best. If no, scratch that. We have the best offensive line in the NFL, and so I'm not too worried about Danielle Hunter. I'm not too worried about the defensive backs as well. So honestly, see AJ Brown and Devontae Smith having a huge game. It's all about, are the Eagles going to be consistent in their play calls, and are they going to be able to be consistent in the plays during the game? Not running first, second down, and third down. It's third and 9, and you're trying to force something. Are you able to get positive yards throughout the game? That's one huge thing I think is going to help us be successful on the offensive side. So let me ask you this: if you had to pick the most important offensive player this week, who you have to go with?
Dallas Goddard for sure.
Okay, I glad.
And that
Go
and
ahead.
that's an extension of Jalen Hurts though,
Mm-hmm.
if we're being honest. So I mean the quarterback's the obvious pick, but it has to be Dallas Goddard. X factor could be Devontae Smith because he's in. I think he's going to be in the slot a little bit this
Mm-hmm.
week. And Byron Murphy, I even forgot he was on the Vikings.
Yeah.
That's a good matchup right there in the
It
slot.
is. I'm with you. I'm leaning heavily towards Dallas Goddard, but I also want to say AJ Brown. I think AJ Brown is going to have a huge game this week. Like I said, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, the 1-2 punch for the Buccaneers, had a very good game. Mike Evans was able to score a touchdown. I think AJ Brown is more explosive than Mike Evans, so I think I really. I'm looking forward to seeing him really breaking down the field. I think he could have 100 plus yards this game. Honestly, I do see him being my X factor, but I'm not disagreeing with you, Dallas Goddard. This is a guy that, with the ball in his hands, can make plays. He's a guy that can get open, and when you have two wide receivers, a running back, and an awesome tight end, that's a lot of ball. But I think all those guys can contribute, will contribute, and need to contribute on the offensive side for us to be victorious. Now, moving on to the defensive side, defensive game plan. Last week, we gave up 3 touchdowns to Mac Jones passing. No disrespect to Mac Jones. I do think Kirk Cousins is better. I do think the wide receivers and tight ends for the Vikings are better. So you have to question yourself. We're down a safety. We're down a corner. So what do you believe is going to be the defensive game plan, defensive expectations? How do you think we're going to perform? What you're looking after? Talk to me about the defensive side of the ball.
Uh, Darius Slay doing what he did last year to Justin Jefferson. That should be the game plan right there.
Absolutely.
But I don't expect that to happen again.
No.
Well, the good thing is the running game is probably going to be suffering without Davin Cook, obviously releasing him late in
Mm-hmm.
camp. But Alexander Madison, we heard of him. We kind of know what to expect. Only 11 carries, 34 yards last week. They only ran the ball 16, 17 times, so
Mm-hmm.
they're looking to throw. That means Kirk Cousins is going to drop back there, and our guys are going to get back there. I
Yeah.
mean, he does have the weapons, but Kirk isn't really notoriously known for getting the ball out quick. He kind of likes going through his progressions.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, their weapons, they have a starter at every spot. The X, the
Yes.
Y, the slot, and the tight end. I mean, they have a starter at every single spot. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how much our D coordinator gives Josh Jobe some help. And I don't really think the back safety is going to be that big of a deal this week. I'm a bit like TJ Hawkinson's good, but like I've
Mhm.
never seen a game of his where he just took over yet.
Brother, I have. I have. I get what you're saying. Maybe he hasn't taken over with the Vikings on a consistency of a Travis Kelsey, George Kittle, God, or Mark Andrews. But I've seen at times, he could have had 10 catches, 100 plus yards. So, if we don't contain him, because I think Hunter Henry maybe had 50 receiving yards, correct me if I'm wrong, at least last week. Um, TJ Hawkinson can't hurt us. Not to say he's going to be the reason, you know, we take this L, which we're not going to, but he's somebody that we have to look at because he can definitely hurt us on that side of the ball. Now, real quick, when it comes to me, I want to see us get after the quarterback. I mean, we talked off air, we talked on a post game show about how nasty this defensive line can be. We talked a lot last year how disgusting we were. Yes, we lose Hargrave, but we add in Jordan Davis, who's now playing more. We add in Jalen Carter, who we both agreed could have been. We talked about Blankenship. We could have gave the defensive MVP to Jalen Carter. We looked at how he ranked with PFF. We looked at how he ranked compared to other pass rushing defensive tackles last week, and he was at the top of the top. So last week the Bucks had 2 sacks. We also had I think 2 sacks against Mac Jones. I think it should at least be 4. I don't know about you, but the pass rush to me is going to be important in this game. When you're missing 2 guys on the back end, when you're missing a safety and a cornerback, the best way to help them out is get after the quarterback, make Kirk Cousins have to hurry up and make a read. He won't be able to, sit there, let the play develop, let his wide receivers, get open because you have the rookie, and I think Addison is his name. You have Justin Jefferson, you have T.J. Hawkinson, you have 3 capable guys. Now you have Bourne as well, so you have capable guys and making plays. The best way to kind of negate that is having a good pass rush, and I believe we had the best. So I think we should at least get 4 sacks this week. Also, with the injuries, we talked about Justin Jefferson and how he was last year. We bottled him up. Don't think it can happen again. Hopefully it does. That would be huge for us. But we have to find a way not to let everybody beat us. You can't have Justin Jefferson going for 150 against Slay, then Addison and Augustin combining for 100. So we had to take somebody out of the game plan. Hopefully it is Justin Jefferson, you know, but somebody has to be taken out of that passing game offense, for the Vikings because I think last week Kirk Cousins has over 300 passing yards. We gave up that much to Mac Jones, so we need to negate that in the bud because the running game, I'm with you. Losing Dalvin Cook, you really only have one real running back. Last week we saw what we did against Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott. So as long as we're not, able to give up big runs, you take out that 11-yard run from Zeke, and we had, the best run defense ultimately last year. Last week outside of the 49ers. So I think if we're able to stop their run, first, second down, get after them on third and longs, I think this defense can be successful. Can you agree?
Yeah, and another injury possibility for them is Christian Darrisaw being
Mm-hmm.
questionable coming into the game.
That's major.
He'll be lined up against Josh Sweat, who's obviously more than capable.
Yes.
Um, Hassan Reddick, I want to see more. That thumb injury. Hopefully that doesn't become a nagging thing we talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just holding him back. And then we need to talk about N'Kobe Dean and Christian Ellis taking his spot over.
Yep.
Um, he showed to be more athlete than I would say a heady player like
Mm-hmm.
T.J. Edwards last year. That was the only thing with T.J. Edwards is he was a little slow, but he was very smart, and he obviously got paid. So
Yes.
it'll be interesting him having the green dot on his head calling the plays. Zach
Mm-hmm.
Cunningham will not. I think Nick Sirianni said that in a press conference. Um, just keep mixing that rotation up. Again, I want to see that Brandon Graham move into the interior a little bit more next to Jalen Carter. I think that could be a nasty bull rush right there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. Maybe you can mix in another blitz or two, but then Kirk will probably audible to like a quick out to Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
I don't think this would be the greatest game to go to a blitz with all the guys down.
Hmm.
Um, maybe maybe Jalen Carter can get 10 pressures this game after how good he was last week.
Yeah, and I think if their starting center, I believe, is out, I expect the interior defensive line to get after it. I expect the whole defensive line to get after it. Honestly, like I said, I think we should have at least 4 sacks. And the beauty with the Eagles and teams that have a great front four is you don't have to always blitz to get pressure. A lot of teams they have to blitz because they don't have the best defensive line, so they may hurt them in the back end. With us, we have an amazing defensive line, so that's able to help us in the back end. So we have more guys back there in the zone or in the man being able to contain the receivers and tight ends that's going out for routes. So that's why I love our defensive line. I know you can agree. So let's talk about this defensive X factor or defensive MVP that we need to win this game. Who you going with?
Uh, Defensive X factor for this game in particular,
Mhm.
I'm gonna go with. I think it has to be Josh Jobe. It just has to
Mhm.
be him filling that shoes. Them shoes of James Bradbury is
Mhm.
is humongous.
Yes.
After neither of them missing time last year, I believe, if I'm correct.
Bradbury.
Uh,
Yeah, I can't remember him ever being out. Honestly.
so I mean, he's gonna be lined up either against first round pick Jordan Addison or
Mhm.
Justin Jefferson. Good luck.
Yeah.
I don't want to extra any resources to help him because we
Mhm.
we do so much on the inside of the
Yeah.
line. Um, but yeah, it has to be Josh Jobe, and I actually have three players to watch at the end. I'll tell you that whenever you're ready. But who's your X factor on defense?
Um, I'm going Carter. I'm all in on Carter right now. Like I said, what I saw from him last week was amazing. And I think, this week, against a real pass heavy team, we're really going to be able to see our pass rushing unit. And like I said, if that's their starting center, I believe that is out. And, they're having some banged up issues on the offensive line. Man, I think he's going to be in for a big game. He might have, 2 sacks this game, which is going to be huge for rookie. But as far as pressures, I definitely see him having at least 10. I think, the interior defensive line for us is going to be the X factor. But if I had to pick one guy in particular, I'm going with Jalen Carter. Now, who are those guys that you were just telling me about?
Well, the three it's kind of like three players to watch for
Mm-hmm.
against the Vikings that could disrupt this game.
Okay.
And the number one's obvious, Justin Jefferson, dude's a game
Absolutely.
breaker. Number two is Daniil Hunter. When
Mm-hmm.
he's healthy, he's still a
Very good
top
pass
20
rusher.
pass rusher.
Yep.
Needs to get out of there though. And
Yeah.
then number three, I'm gonna go with I'll go with Harrison Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Just not what he once was, but he'll still be lined up in the right spots all the same times. Had 5 picks last year. Didn't even know that. He kind
Yeah,
of had a renaissance.
he's ball he's an underrated baller. I'm gonna let you finish. I just had to add that Harrison Smith is an underrated baller. You look at his numbers. We could talk about this maybe an episode. We just shooting the shit, but you look at his numbers compared to Hall of Famers, and it's gonna make you scratch your head and say, man, why are we not talking about this dude more often?
And new D coordinator, I forgot about this,
Mm-hmm.
Brian Flores, who I think is one of the best defensive minds in the game,
Mm-hmm.
calling plays over there. So he'll be giving us all types of looks, kind of similar to last week. So it'll be interesting to see how Brian Johnson's adjusted because obviously Brian Flores comes from that Belichick coaching tree.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's Justin Jefferson, Daniil Hunter, Harrison Smith.
Now, if I going with you, if I had to give my three, I'm gonna go Hawkinson
Mm.
because I'm a huge Hawkinson guy. Um, Not only because of what he did for me in fantasy last year, but when I look at what he can bring, he's a tall tight end that kind of gets overlooked. We only talk about the 3, 4, 5 top tight end guys, and we forget that it's a lot of tight end talent in this league. And when you're on a pass heavy team, we have a Jefferson, now you have an Addison, you have a Bourne, you have 3 receivers. You got a guy in Hawkinson that can really go unnoticed. And the injuries we have to our linebackers, the injury we have to Blankenship, this guy can, and I talked about he may or may not win or lose the game for them. He could honestly be the reason. If we're not able to contain him and we're able to contain, the outside guys, Hawkinson can carve us up on the inside. He's a guy that I think can run every single route on the route tree for the tight end position. He's not a bad blocker. So he's a guy that can honestly be an X factor for them. So I'm going to go Hawkinson. Then I'm gonna go Addison. Sticking with the offense, the rookie wide receiver. If he's going against Joe most of the game, he doesn't have to worry about Slay. We're missing our second best defensive back. he might be, somebody that the Vikings highlight, saying, okay, Justin Jefferson, you know what happened last year. We're obviously going to give you your targets, but if you're not able to get open, create separation, or they're taking you out the game plan, and we got two guys in Hawkinson, and we have another guy in Addison who we feel comfortable giving the ball. So I think those two guys can honestly really make a difference for the Vikings, especially if Justin Jefferson is not able to, do Justin Jefferson type of things. On the defensive side, I'm with you. I'm going against Hunter. Last week wasn't the best performance from our offensive line. Granted, no preseason, missing time, injuries, surgeries, things of that nature. But no excuses over here when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. But Hunter is a guy that, like you said, top 15, top 20 pass rusher. If he's able to create pressure against Jalen Hurts, how does that change our game plan? How does that change Jalen Hurts' mindset in his game? Whenever you're able to create pressure on a quarterback, especially on a mobile quarterback, he might not be looking at his reads now. Now he's looking to scramble. So I think when you create pressure on a guy that loves to scramble, that can really throw off their passing offense. So if we're not able to contain Hunter, I think that may change some things for our offense.
And I also think, you know, this is from that whole Belichick coaching defensive tree. Brian
Mhm.
Flores, Graham, he was the defense coordinator for the Giants a few years ago. Is
Mhm.
that those with the guys you may not have heard of, they'll always try to navigate finding pressure, no
Yes.
matter what. Different looks, different stunts. So I mean, I'm just looking. Harrison Phillips is a run defender. Dean
Mhm.
Lowry's a run defender. I mean, they have a lot of young guys on this defense, maybe some
Mhm.
unheard heard of guys. I mean, I forgot Jordan Hicks, by the way. I mean,
Yeah. Eagles
he'll be
legend,
he'll,
huh?
he'll be there. And then a little bit of news, but I mean, we kind of expected this.
Mhm.
Aaron Sipos and Brink Covey will be the special teams unit. That's
Yep.
no surprise.
At all.
Um, but yeah, just expect that whole Brian Flores to give every look basically and try getting some pass rush opportunities opened.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, on expectation size on offense, who do you think is going to score? How much do you think we're going to score? So, if you had to give a prediction on score, maybe who you think is going to score a touchdown for the offensive side, and how much do you think the Vikings are going to score? So, basically, to sum that up, because that was a lot for no reason. Who do you think is the
Prediction?
final score of the game, and who do you think is going to be the offensive touchdown scores for the Eagles?
I'm gonna go with the Eagles 30, Minnesota 26.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Minnesota will get a garbage touchdown late, so we'll be winning, not handily, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll have a two possession lead throughout this game. I think Dallas Goddard is almost a lock to get a touchdown this week.
Mm-hmm.
He may even get over targeted because you know how that thing goes
Mm-hmm.
when they give a guy one target. So I'll probably go with Goddard getting one of the touchdowns, and I mean when in doubt, just take AJ Brown to get a touchdown. It's always not a bad guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 30-26. I think we have a two possession lead this whole time. Minnesota scores a garbage touchdown late. We move on to 2-0. But Minnesota is the more desperate team, so expect them to play a hell of a lot harder.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna go 27-17. Offense, hopefully we're able to click on all cylinders, but won't be surprised, sadly, if we start out sometimes, if it's some three and outs that shouldn't be. But I do think we're able to put some points on the board. And Minnesota scoring 17. I look what they did last week against the Buccaneers defense. And obviously, we have some injuries, we're banged up. But I do think still with our defense right now, we're better than them. I think we still make it harder for Kirk Cousins. I'm with you, they may or may not score a garbage time touchdown, but I think this team at home, even though it's a short week, I think that Philly atmosphere, I think that's going to make them come alive. And as far as offensive scores, I'm with you. I think Dallas Goddard is going to get over targeted. Probably in the red zone. He's probably going to be the red zone target. I'm also looking at Swift. I think last week Swift barely being in the game. I think he has a huge game this week. So I think those two guys honestly are going to be the touchdown scorers for the Eagles.
All right.
Now to wrap it up, last segment. The betting advice. Now, on my TikTok, on my Twitter and Instagram, I'm going to be posting more than one parlay, probably 3 or 4 parlays. But right now, if you're watching this, let me give you this parlay right here. This is going to be my favorite parlay on FanDuel. You have a 50% boost on FanDuel, and also you have a no sweat bet on FanDuel right now. So if you're a person that loves to bet, I will go lock this in. So with the 50% boost, you're only allowed to put $25 on now, but the odds are plus 1,766. Talk to me, Tyler. DeAndre Swift, anytime touchdown score. Kirk Cousins, 225 yards. Smith, A.J. Brown, both 50 receiving yards. I have Hawkinson for 40 plus receiving yards, and I have Jalen Hurts for 25 plus rushing yards. 25 on that, get you back $442.
I like that. It sounds like you're going to have the Eagles playing a way better offensive game this week.
Absolutely, absolutely, I do.
Only thing questionable is DeAndre Swift scoring a touchdown,
You
but
know,
I mean, to make
obviously,
the money, you got to play a little funny.
to make the money, you gotta play a little funny. That's it for you fellas. And ladies, thank you everybody so much for tuning in. Philly Sports Duo. You know, this is the second episode we're releasing. Eagles post game. You're going to hear from us Friday or Saturday, wrapping up this game. Hopefully, it ends up in a W. Fly Eagles fly. Tyler, it's great talking to you, brother.
Birds.